Welcome to Abracadabra TV. The magic is here.
Abracadabra friends, so happy to be here with you today, virtually connecting in an expansive and creative and fun way. So important for all of us right now in the world. I'm Lisa Wimberger. I am the founder of Neurosculpting and the Neurosculpting Institute, which I'm coming to you from today. I am the co-founder of Neuropraxis app, which delivers to you in your pocket exclusive neurosculpting, brain training practices, and meditations. So, what is our time like together today? I'm super excited. If you are like me and you're a neuro geek, then hold on, because we're going to talk all sorts of neuro information. And the reason I want to talk to you about your neuroanatomy is because I think if I'm feeling into what is important to me in the world, it is to show up creatively, uniquely, authentically, playfully, and as big as my short little lifetime can allow. And maybe you resonate with that. In order for me to show up like that, in order for you to have your platform of expression, have your body and your daily life be your platform of expression, you have to know how to navigate your central nervous system. Because if you don't, what ends up happening is very hidden, invisible, subconscious patterns, scripts, sabotages can get in the way and make us feel very limited or inhibited or not able to gain that motivation or momentum. And so really it comes down to, do we want to optimize our creative expression in the world, our best self, our most expansive self? If so, we have a technology. We have the most advanced technology in the world. That's our body and our mind. And there is a user manual, believe it or not, for these things. And I want to give you a sneak peek today into the user manual of my favorite thing, the brain. I have a spare with me at all times. Comes in very handy, I assure you. So we're going to talk today about some things. I want to define some terms for you. We're going to talk about the central nervous system. That's this guy, and it is the brain stem that comes out of this guy. And that is command central for your behaviors, your movements, your perceptions, and your organs' visceral experience of the world. Then there's the peripheral nervous system, which extends out from that, and that's muscles, skin, senses. And those two things are really important to today's conversation. Additionally, I want to define neurosculpting, and I want to define neuropraxis. And I want to define neuroplasticity. So let's start with the first one. Neuroplasticity is this guy's ability in any moment to change its structure and function based on the needs of your body, your mind, and the environment. So neuroplasticity is the term science uses to define learning in the brain. That's neuroplasticity. We all have it. It's our birthright. Neurosculpting is a process to harness your brain's ability to adapt and change in a very targeted way so that you are optimizing and strategizing your learning so that you can be your best self faster, deeper, stronger, longer. Neuropraxis is the art of the discipline of using your own neuroplasticity every single day with intention. So those are some terms I might mention, and thought that would be helpful for you. So let's dive in to how this brain gets you to be your best self. I'm going to break the brain in half because right now, well, let me orient you to this actually. Right now you're looking at the front of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. That's going to be right here. And then the brain has two halves, a left and a right. And they are actually totally separate, not touching at all. In fact, this middle block is a block of cabling. This is the corpus callosum, and it connects the two hemispheres. But all these squiggles, this is the cortex, all those squiggles, they are actually sheathed in a pia and a dura, which are little like skull caps that go over and fold over even in the midlines so that there is a membrane in between both sides. That is to protect the integrity of both sides. So right now, we're going to look at the inside of the right hemisphere as though I've pulled this out of my head. And what I want to say to you is this. This section of the brain, midbrain and brainstem, is very, very interested in making sure in all moments you're safe. You have your needs met. You are comfortable to the best of your capacity. That is mostly what midbrain and brainstem are looking to do. And they do that by controlling your breathing, your heart rate, your ability to feel and detect hunger and thirst and get those needs met, your desire to find shelter and create tribe so that you are protected and safe. And this is a gift. It's a gift of our natural predisposition to value the self and protect it. The gift, when it's overused, becomes a little bit of a curse in that self-protection, when it is the dominant lens of my every single day, puts a little wedge between me and the rest of the world. Because if I function from here dominantly all the time, then that means I am hyper-vigilantly looking around my environment to make sure, am I safe? Am I safe? Do I have what I need? Maybe I don't. And so I can easily go into threat mode, fear-based life, if I'm only staying in my midbrain. But the beautiful thing is, we don't always only stay in our midbrain. Sometimes we are artistic and we don't mind that we're uncomfortable because we're so motivated or engaged in a new learning, or I'm solving a problem, or I am finding a flow of articulation, or I'm inspired. And when I'm like that, I actually have dominant activity in the prefrontal cortex. That's right here. So when I'm in my flow state, my expansive self, my belief that my uniqueness is okay in the world, I'm not going to be midbrain dominant. I'm going to be prefrontal cortex dominant. So this is starting to form a little equation. Can I get my needs met? Sure, that's great. I'm here. Am I too focused on just me and my needs and I don't have enough? That might be a little too much here. Am I in flow state? Am I comfortable in my skin, however it looks and feels? Am I okay being a unique, crazy, expansive self? I likely have dominant activity here. So these two things have very different felt sense in the body. So what I want to invite you to think about is that your particular body's felt sense gives you an indication of where your dominant brain functioning is. So let's think about the idea of base camp. When you create a base camp, whether you're at the burn or you're actually camping in the woods or something, the base camp, home base, even that game hide and seek when you were a kid, your safety was, oh, I made it home. Base camp feels like home because it offers midbrain all the things it's looking for. It offers shelter. It offers a place that you've established with familiarity so that you can get there and recognize it and go, oh yeah, I'm home, and exhale. It offers a place for you to recharge, maybe to rest for the next great adventure, maybe to refuel with food and water, maybe to sit and commune with friends, to talk about your day. Base camp is a critical component giving us the behind the scenes safety and knowledge that today I can go out and adventure far and long and experimentally because I have a base camp to come home to. So when we are at our internal landscapes base camp, what's actually happening is that this has all its needs met and it gets nice and quiet. Base camp allows us to be quiet. So I would like you to think about base camp being homeostasis for the body. What is homeostasis? Well, that's when your central nervous system is perceiving your most basic needs are met. Therefore, your muscles can be nice and soft. Your body can be slow and easy. Your heart rate can be comfortable. Your breathing can be long, slow, and deep. You might even have a natural lift to the face. This is base camp. And this is what the nervous system is looking for in all moments. So if we were to give the nervous system its base camp moments throughout the day, what we'd actually do is conserve resources so that the front of the brain could start using them. Base camp recharges us. So let's talk about some physical ways that you in every single day can establish and get to your base camp. So the first little exercise I'm going to share with you is a great exercise that is especially good to do while you're dancing. In fact, dancing comes so close to this exercise, it's no wonder we all crave it and feel so different after we've had an amazing dance session, whether that's in public or in private, because some of us don't like to dance in front of others, and some of us love it. So I want you to consider clenched muscles in the peripheral nervous system, the outside. Tell the brain through feedback signals, if I'm clenched, I don't feel safe. And if my muscles are clenched, I send a signal up the brainstem to the midbrain that says, we don't feel safe. So, clenched muscles equals you're not at base camp. How do you get to base camp from clenched muscles? Those clenched muscles are holding on to energy. They're contracting as a way to protect you. They think they're either gonna punch, run, freeze, clamp down, fight, whatever they think, they're contracting for protection. So you have to signal these muscles through your own body that they don't need to protect you right now. That's how you get to base camp. And it's a technique called neurogenic tremoring. All muscles, when they hit levels of too much stress, will start to fatigue and start to ripple the contractions like this. So if you were to imagine your dog, your animal that might have just been scared from a loud sound, or maybe you, if let's say you were in a minor car accident and you get out of the car and you're kind of like twitching like that. And you think you're twitching because you're scared. Or you think your dog is shaking at that loud sound because he's scared. That's only partially true. The shaking is not because you're scared. The shaking happens immediately after a dose of fear or adrenaline, because the muscles just contracted so much that now they have to release through neurogenic tremors. And the interesting thing is that animals know this. Small mammals We're large mammals. Small mammals don't get in the way of their own neurogenic tremors. They let it happen. And then they get soft. And then they go back to being squishy, adorable little things. We get in the way of our natural mammalian urge to shake. What do people try to do? If they come to your rescue at the scene of your car accident and you're shaking, they typically try to stop you. They try to calm you down. When in reality, the neurogenic tremors are the thing that is calming you down, that is giving regulation to the muscles in the peripheral nervous system so that muscles can soften because they've used up their energy, and they can send a signal back to the spinal column, up to the brainstem to say, we're soft, we're good, you can exhale, you're at base camp. So, my favorite go-to neurosomatic approach to regulating myself and then giving my prefrontal cortex free rein to be my best self is to create soft muscles in my nervous system through wild and frenetic neurogenic tremoring. And that can look like something like that. When you have a shiver that runs up your spine, that kind of feeling, and you can just induce that yourself. Or it could look like a wild dance session to some of the best sets you're hearing all weekend, loosening up all of those muscles. It can also look like getting a massage. It can also look like running or just walking fast, using your body in a way that dissipates all of that stored up kinetic energy in the muscles is one of the fastest somatic approaches to inner landscape regulation, to base camp, to homeostasis, to telling this part of your brain, we're okay, we're okay. And because we are now okay, we have the resources and the resilience to risk being our biggest, greatest, most passionate, unique, fantastic self. If we don't find base camp, if we haven't set it up and we haven't established it, even if we don't visit it for days, as long as we know it's there, we have the resources and the resilience to take risks, to experiment with being our best. And if we don't set that up, we're not going to take those risks. We may pretend to take them, but we're going to sabotage them. Or going to implode at the repercussions of being our biggest self because we haven't found base camp. So for me and the central nervous system and the art of harnessing my brain's resilience, first and foremost, always, 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 as a mammal, you must have your needs met. In survival school, one of the first things they teach you is that your ability to find calm is the make or break aspect. Even if you have great survival skills, you can source water, you can make fire, you can build shelter. If you cannot regulate your brain, meaning quiet this and activate problem-solving logic, inspiration, motivation, you will not survive. So at the most core of our mammalian needs, homeostasis and base camp are first and foremost. So you want your survival toolkit, that's first. Now, what's second? Once you've established homeostasis, can you intentionally use all of the resources in your brain to open and activate the frontal cortex to orient you to compassion, creativity, motivation, inspiration, forgiveness, eloquence, logic, problem solving, big picture thinking, silver lining, creation, prefrontal cortex will not serve you unless and until base camp is established. This is measured in neuroscience. This is measurable. When this is hypervigilantly looking, this is very quiet. When this says, great, I found it, this says, okay, I'm ready. And how does it get ready? Well, it loves to seek novelty and wonder and curiosity. So the more you can recognize when you are comfortable with curiosity and when you're not, you can start to recognize, oh, when I'm comfortable with curiosity, I'm using resources in my prefrontal cortex. When I retract from curiosity in a self-protection mode, I have resources dominant in my midbrain. And that equals a body response and then a perception of the world. If I am prefrontally happy and okay with curiosity, novelty, and learning, my body perceives the world to be safe enough to do so. And I carry that with me into my actions. And I can even ripple that out to other people. If I'm midbrain and physically contracted, not only do I have that experience in the moment, but I am now projecting that to those around me, that the world is not safe. And there is a very interesting thing called limbic resonance, which is our capacity as connected, socially oriented human beings, that my state of being can change your state of being, not even mysteriously and magically, through mirror neurons, through measurable science. I can do that. I can do that with my face. You can do that with your face. So when we are looking at where is base camp inside of me, it's not just important for you and for you to be your best self. It is an ever osmotic platform. It is an oozing aura, if you will. It is a limbic resonance. It's a field you are establishing with your body temperature, your muscle contractions, your facial expressions, your breath, your heart rate, and your perceptions, which someone else can pick up through mirror neurons. What's a neuron? Let's look quickly at my other best friend. This is my neuron. Okay, we have about 100 different kinds. This is just one kind. So these are the brain cells that live, about 100 billion of them in your brain, trillions of them in your gut, and then neurons like these guys in your spinal column, in the gray matter, in your organs, in your muscles. They're everywhere. They're not just in your brain. And they have a cell body. They have dendrites, which are these little guys. And then they have an axon, which is a tail, and little axon terminals, feet. And together, this structure collects information, speaks about it, sends its message down this tail and out as chemicals to the next neuron over here, and so on and so on. So what that means is that my neurons are talking to each other about my perception of the world. And then they're creating a response in my mind and in my body. And then you and your neurons are picking that up, processing that, evaluating it, and responding often in kind, so that your internal landscape is having a felt experience that might have been catalyzed by someone else's experience. So base camp isn't just for you. It's for you to position yourself to own and take agency, not only over your inner landscape, but over your outer landscape. We, as social creatures, affect everything around us. And it is our due diligence to make sure we are engaging in a healthy, clean emanation of self. So, it is in everyone's best interest to be your most compassionate, expressive, unique prefrontal self whenever possible. And a lot of times we really only get permission to do that when we are in like-minded social gatherings where rules are different than day-to-day life. So we somehow engage in this spoken and unspoken permission. And that's a beautiful thing, but that's an external thing. And that unspoken permission, that switch lives inside of us. It lives in the dynamic relationship between midbrain and prefrontal cortex. It lives in that dynamic relationship between muscle contraction and muscle softness. It lives in the relationship between central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. It lives in your birthright of neuroplasticity, which is with just a little information and just a little knowledge, I can go into this nervous system and I can take agency. And I am no longer a victim to my circumstances or to the confines and limitations of society or the world. I am driving my own vehicle. How do I want to drive it? So this is the gift of neuroplasticity. Now there is an art to harnessing this and to using it with intention. And that's what we give you with the NeuroPraxis app, is we actually walk you through guided neuroplasticity meditations, very strategically designed so that you can learn how to harness all of your birthright yourself, changing your inner landscape, painting it the most beautiful colors you could ever imagine, giving it the juiciest qualities you could ever imagine, so that that starts to automatically just be the fabric of your own world. There is nothing better, nothing more empowering, nothing more magnificent that I have ever experienced than having full agency over my inner landscape. So much agency that I may open it to the unknown, to being influenced by others, to being surprised and inspired. So don't confuse taking agency with control. Agency means you have choice. And in that choice, you can choose to forge ahead and craft a world just as you see it, or you can choose to be open and take enough risks to be surprised and inspired. So we're going to distill this little conversation into a couple of little action items for you. Number one, please, please, please go dance. Dance to the amazing music, wildly, like nobody's watching and like everybody's watching. And shake, awkwardly, ugly, frenetically. Do that every single day. Soften your muscles. Bring your nervous system back to base camp. Bring resources to the front of your brain so that you can be your biggest, best self. And yes, we can share that with each other in connection, but you could have that inside of you every single day. It doesn't need to fade or go away, and you don't need to wait another year to taste that again. You can taste it every single day. The journey to the inner landscape is fantastic, sometimes a little bit crazy, but it starts with the brain. And it starts with you becoming friends with this guy. Starts with you letting these guys do their job. And it ends with you being wowed by the life you get to create, the life you get to live, and the art and the expression that you get to share. And I am so, so excited to be inspired all weekend with what everyone here is sharing and contributing. So thank you for letting me be here with you. Thank you for going on a little neuro geek journey with me and NeuroPraxis. And I'm so excited for you to go be your most magnificent self.
Welcome to Abracadabra TV.
Live exclusively on Twitch.